You're good to go.
Is everyone joining us? Good. And I just wanted to know, can you all see me, my screen? You can just give me a quick yes or a thumbs up because I can't see you.
Yes.
Good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. My name is Becky Macgregor, and I am your APS Employee Wellness Coordinator. Thank you for having me in the summit. I really appreciate it, and I also really appreciate the work that you all do. And as I was kind of thinking about and preparing for this presentation, I was thinking about when I first started out in the career world, like 30 years ago. And it was an exciting time, right? We work really hard to get through school and to start our careers or to progress our careers. When we think about the first year to the second year of anything, there's always like a huge learning curve. And then that second year, we start to kind of really get into our groove. And then we had COVID, right? And I feel like, oh my gosh, you know, it was hard on everybody, but really very difficult when we look at self-care and well-being, especially when you're in a new job situation or a job situation that's relatively new for you. And so I was thinking about that. I wanted to share with you a story within a story. So I'd like for you to sit back and just relax for a second. This is the 5 chapters by Portia Nelson, and it's from the book called There's a Hole in My Sidewalk. I've kind of amended, I've got a kind of an extra chapter at the end. Chapter 1, I walk down the street and there's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in and I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find my way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. And there's the deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it, and I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long way to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street, and there's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall in, and it's habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault, and I get out. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street, and there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, and I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. And there's a chapter 6. I walk down that same street, but this time I fill in the holes so that others don't fall and stumble and make the same mistakes I did. Now, I truly believe that as educators, you all are pothole fillers. You are those people who try to walk down that street and fill in those holes for others, for those children, for the families. But also as humans, we are pothole fillers for our families, for our spouses, for our partners, for our children, for our siblings, for our coworkers, and our friends. We work very hard at that self-care, giving out to others. And when I was about your age, I'm kind of guessing, when I got out of school and had a couple of jobs, and I was really embarking my career as a writer, producer in television. I was a writer-producer. It was a very stressful job. I had several deadlines a day. I used to joke that you knew when you went in, but you never knew when you'd get to leave. There was deadlines, stressful situations. And to cope with that, I ate. And I ate a lot of sugar, of chocolate, of cupcakes. I know it sounds funny because we do tend to eat to cope, right, with stress. However, that type of coping mechanism with the stress, with the eating, would make me feel very sick, physically and emotionally. I'd feel guilty, I'd feel ashamed, and I would feel fat, and I would feel ugly. And I'm going to tell you that that was my chapter 3. I kept falling into the same habit pitfall, this same hole, right? I knew it was there. You know, I knew I would be experiencing stress, but I still kept repeating the same type of patterns because my story didn't really start at 24, 25. My story started when I was between 12 and 14, when I learned at a very young age, I was one of those type of kids that had a strong fear of failure. I also had a strong inner critic. And I was kind of one of those kids who just wanted to be perfect. I was also one of those kids who was teased. I grew up around boys. They told me I was fat and I was ugly and I was dumb and I was stupid. And I believed those words so much so that when I got into high school, when I experienced stressful situations or the idea that I might fail, I would cope with an eating disorder. I had anorexia. And so I would cope with not eating and over-exercising. Now, as I moved through high school into college, I did gain weight. I was very thin. I'm 117 now. I was 95 then. I did, get into college and start to gain weight. However, those stressful situations and those coping responses stayed. And I want to tell you that I suffered greatly my first 2 years of college because I had trashed my body so much. My immune system was so shot and my adrenals were so shot. I was sick my first 2 years of college all the time. I mean, all the time. My grades suffered. I went from a straight A student to a C student. I couldn't perform athletically. I kind of couldn't do anything, right? Until I really got healthy with weight. However, I did not get healthy with the mechanisms in which I used to cope with stress. So we're going to fast forward, right, into this idea that even when I was 25 and I'd already had 2 fitness certifications under my belt, I was a writer-producer, but I loved wellness. The connections still didn't come, right? I still didn't make those connections because in the wellness industry, we have been very slow to come around to this fact. If I were to ask you, any of you, what do you think it takes to be healthy? Most of us are going to respond in the same way with the same things. Most of us are going to respond with these basic needs at the top of this pyramid. We're going to say, well, we need to eat more vegetables. We need to exercise. We need to get our sleep. And we're going to all kind of have those similar type of responses because in the wellness industry, we've done a really good idea of teaching you that, of getting out that information, right? You need to eat more kale. You need to exercise more. You need to get your sleep. We all know that. However, what we failed to do is really address the unmentionables in our lives, the things in the lower part of this pyramid, the things that really drive our emotional and physical health, the unmentionables that are, tough bosses, job and life dissatisfactions, addictions, relationship issues, these fears, the caregiving strain. As adults, we have troubled marriages, troubled relationships, and financial strain, these unmentionables that we have in our lives, that we all have because we're human. I want to play a little game with you, okay? I want you to picture what the perfect day of health looks like. What would your perfect healthy person be? And I really want you to put this image into your brain. And I'm gonna give you mine, okay? And everybody's is gonna look a little different, but just so that I can get you into this game groove. You can shut your eyes if you want. So my perfect healthy day, it looks like this. When my alarm goes off, not that phone that's ringing, when my alarm goes off, I get up the first time, right? I don't quit hitting the snooze. And I get up and have my coffee and my quiet time, and it's just glorious because I can just focus on that. And then by 6:15, I'm out and I'm exercising, and I'm getting in this amazing workout, and everything's good, nothing hurts. And then I'm getting ready for work, and my lunch is already prepared because I pre-planned that the night before. And then I go to work and I'm able to cope and deal with all the things coming at me, and not all of the cookies or cupcakes or chocolates or anything that's in the lunch lounge or the room or the boss's office, right? I'm not tempted by any of that. And I'm responding in just this wonderful, gracious way to everyone because I have an abundance of patience because I got this great night's sleep. And then I go home. And my kids have already taken out the food that I pre-planned and cooked on Sunday, and they're getting it ready so that we can have dinner. and they're not complaining about the 15th variation of quinoa salad that I've decided I want to serve. They love it. And we're eating dinner together as a family, and the girls are not bickering, and they're not, fighting, and there's no teenage drama, right? And then we finish dinner, and they willingly clean up. And then we have this nice little evening, and then by 9 o'clock, I'm in bed, and I'm able to sleep because the rooster next door is not crowing at this odd 9 p.m. hour. It's got some weird, disorder, and it's quiet. And I can go to sleep so I can wake up the next day. So that's kind of my idea, right? That's this perfect day for me. And I don't know what your perfect day looked like, but I want you to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it. What did it feel like? What did it look like? And then I want you to think of yourself here. And we as humans have this amazing ability to put ourselves mentally in this place that we want perfection to be. But when in reality, that top of that pyramid, in reality, we're suffering through in the bottom part of that pyramid, okay? There's this disconnect. We're here and we want to be here. And there's this disconnect between our expectations and our reality because we're not really addressing the unmentionables that we have in our life. Because in reality, I get up like the fourth time that snooze button goes off. In reality, we all have these family struggles that go on. So because we have these unmentionables and we haven't really addressed them. And I want to tell you something. It's in these unmentionables where our vulnerabilities lie. We are human. And when we experience failures, when we experience tough relationships, when we experience all of these fears, then we also experience stress, anxiety, and depression. And what we tend to do is cope with those in ways like food, alcohol, smoking, drugs. We develop these layers of coping because we expect our day should be here, but in reality, we are here, and we fail to address on a daily basis that any given time, our day's not going to go as planned, and we are going to feel vulnerable, we are going to be afraid, and we are going to be stressed because of that. And so what I want you all to consider is how you can consider a new way toward your well-being. And I want you to think about what your story is. Where is your story? What chapter are you in? We have a tendency as humans to want to go from chapter 1 to chapter 6. We skip all of this in between, but it's all that messy stuff in between. It's all those potholes that we keep, dropping into. And the other thing about that is in that lower half of that pyramid, and when we develop these coping mechanisms as young adults, those develop into these lifestyle behaviors and habits that grow into disease. They grow into illness, physical and mental illness. When we ignore those unmentionables and we feed that fear with these destructive behaviors, they grow into more depression, high blood pressure, diabetes, pre-diabetes, cholesterol, overweight, obesity. So as I have you now as this young audience, I want you to consider what we do now, or what you do now, because I'm past that. I'm in my 50s now. But I want you to consider where you are and what this cycle becomes later, so that you really can stop and ask yourself, what's your story? And how are you coping? And where are you stuck? And what does that look like for you? Like I said, we tend to stay stuck in those first 2 chapters, and it's really hard for us to go into 4 and 5, right? It's really hard for us to move up that rung that hierarchy of needs unless we're able to, in the moment, go, okay, I know this is a stress and I know this is where this is coming from. And now I want to find a new way of handling it. I want to find a more positive, constructive way of coping with my wellness so that on a daily basis, I'm going to feel better. And it's not about being perfect, right? It's not about that perfect expectation. It's just about, just being good, just trying to be good enough. And that can look something very different. I always say it's really good to have a plan for your day, but then pour over an abundance of grace. Just pour over an abundance of grace and go, even though I'd planned to do this really strong exercise session, I'm feeling a little tired today. I'm upset about this thing that happened over here. Maybe I need to adjust. Maybe I need to do a little something different for me today. Or, again, we all have families and we have other life struggles that affect us on a daily basis. And we can't just think we're going to tackle it by eating more vegetables and getting more exercise. We have to consider the whole. So what would be good enough for you on a self-care basis every day? And then ask yourself, do I need other resources? Are there other things I could be doing so that I'm learning and addressing and recognizing these habits that I have? And so now I'd like to go into some of the programs that we have for you to help you address these habits, the copings, and just to help you progress and deal with your wellness. Now, look, this is really important to me. Over this last one I started with APS to make sure that we had an abundance of resources available for employees, regardless of whether they're covered under APS benefits or not. Okay, that's an important thing for me. For all employees. It's also important for you to know where you can go to find your resources. So we have a host of mental and emotional wellness resources for you. And it's in what I call your mental health corner. And it's on the APS intranet under Employee Wellness, Employee Resources. It's pretty easy to find. But we have the free Employee Assistance Program. That's not under benefits. That is a separate standalone, department, and they're fabulous. The EAP program. They are confidential, free counseling resources for you or for your dependents or close family. We also have a very robust Life on Mindfulness program. It's very flexible. It's for all employees. It offers a portal. There's just a ton of resources. You can do drop-in meditations. You can go into recordings. We have workshops the first and third Saturday of every month. Michelle Duvall is fabulous. So we have a really cool Life on Mindfulness. It continues to expand. We have virtual and virtual health benefits. Now, those are for covered employees, but I always like to let them know that I've separated out the mental and behavioral health resources per provider for employees, so they know, that they have that. They know they can go there. They know they can look something up. We have another program for all employees, all full-time employees. It's called My Stress Tools. And it's really a cool mobile app friendly stress and resiliency building program. And there's all kinds of really neat things in there. You can take a quiz and figure out where your stress is, and then they offer different resources there. We also have a partnership with the Albuquerque Regional Community Chaplain Corps. And that information is and they give social and emotional support, but that's in the mental health corner, as well as your New Mexico Crisis Hotline and your NAMI information, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I think it's really important that we address the fact that not just this last year and a half, it's been hard, and our mental health and behavioral health needs have risen, but in our industry as a whole, the school districts, we have always had a high need for mental and behavioral health. And I think part of that is due to the stress. You are caregivers, and you are wanting to be in that chapter 6, right? You're a caregiver. You are wanting to always be filling those holes. You have a high stress job. You care. And because you care, you feel. And when we do that, we do develop the compassion fatigue and just overall fatigue, right? So it's important that you recognize we have these and then use them if you need them. We have coming up financial wellness workshops. I wanted to do this last year, but the timing was just not very good. But we have a really cool group of financial wellness workshops coming up. They are going to be recorded, so you will be able to view them for playback. The APS Perks, it's about your APS-sponsored retirement and saving options. It's really a good presentation for you now. As you are younger, this is a really important presentation for you moving forward through your APS career. And then physically fit. This is a cool presentation. It's understanding your relationship with money and spending, and she really gets into the mindset of spending. I'm not the presenter on any of these, thank goodness, but we have some beautiful presenters, and this is another really awesome presentation. And I encourage you to log in live because we do have Q&A time, and I always think that's valuable time. And then financial finesse is kind of how to budget and plan for life expenses, how to get out of debt, things like that. And as a young person, you might be trying to plan for life expenses, or you might have some debt from school, from credit cards, or whatever it is. And financial stress is a huge stress, and it drives our health and our well-being. As you all know, our wellness is physical, mental, and emotional. They're intricately connected. This is just a list of APS programs, right? We have a wellness incentive program. Everybody is in a different place, and I like to offer a lot of choice. And so we have this wellness incentive program. You get to do wellness log points, and we have awesome prizes. New Mexico Sports and Wellness memberships, Les Mills on Demand subscriptions, sports systems, Stone Age, Wex, Flying Tar. We have all kinds of prizes there. We have free health coaching. I want to highlight this. It's been very popular. If you're struggling and you don't feel like maybe you need counseling, or maybe you want to start with free health coaching, you do know you have some eating habits that might need to be, looked at and dialed in, okay? We have free health coaching, and they're really good. They're really, really good. We have Livongo for diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity. So it's a one-point solution for 3 chronic illnesses that we offer. That is for covered employees. We have the mental health corner. We have back to basics. So if you see this, this would be something that perhaps, this is recorded. So to take a look at. I want you to save the date. It seems like it's far off for you, October 7th. It's right around the corner for me because I'm planning it now, and that's our wellness fair. And it is so far in person, and it's going to be like this big wellness party. I'm really excited to bring it to you all. We're going to have some presentations. We're going to do fitness demos. It's going to be at Bonifacio, and we're going to also have a lot of preventive health screens available for you. I want some final thoughts about APS Employee Wellness, okay? If there's 3 things I want you to do, I want you to connect, and I want you to share, and I want you to engage. I want you to connect to APS Employee Wellness so you know what's going on. I'm pretty active in social media, and I've created a lot of other avenues so that you know where to get information and you know what's going on. So we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, we have YouTube. We have an APS Employee Wellness YouTube channel, and I have stretch breaks on there for you. We have a Tuesday Times Wellness Wire. That doesn't go out to all of you, but I do put a Wellness Wire out pretty much every single week. It's a little motivationally. And I'm always putting things in the perspective. We also have a Google event calendar, and all you have to do is go into your Google event calendar and search APS Employee Wellness Google event calendar, and it'll come up. And then just attach it, because I always update that. And I also put in daily tips. And we have the APS intranet, and that is really going to house everything for you. I've made kind of a website within the website underneath Employee Wellness, and you'll see a whole tree of things. You can click on certain things and see more. I keep it updated. I also update monthly newsletters, which you can find on the intranet, and I also put them on the aps.edu front-facing site. I would like for you to share this information. I would like for you to share it with your colleagues to connect and to know where to go to find this information. So when they're ready, when you're ready, You know you have resources and you know where to go to get them. And then I want you to engage. I want you to engage in your health for your family, for your friends, for your coworkers. And I want you to think about it on a daily basis with not letting perfect be the enemy of good. Okay? Not trying to approach it always from that top part of the pyramid, but think about it on this daily basis of how we're going to manage day by day with all of those unmentionables and cope in a real positive way to move through whatever storm you're going through and be the healthiest person that you can be. Thank you. And please let me know if you have any questions.
We had a question in the chat about the financial wellness links. Do we have the dates and links for those for this upcoming school year? If so, are we able to put them into the chat for participants?
Yes, in fact, that is the graphic has the dates and links. Let me see if I can cut and paste it for you. So that, in fact, well, Molly, Melissa, can I have to just, I don't really have it. I have it in a graphic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think. That is in the Google event calendar. That graphic is also in the intranet.
Okay.
It's on the intranet. And I've also posted it on the Facebook page. And it's been out on Twitter and Instagram. So I've already been promoting those. So is there a way for me to get that graphic to you that do you have a, okay.
If you'd like to, you can also email me the graphic and
Okay.
I can include it in my email of that I'm sending out to participants at the end of the week.
Okay. So let me write that down. All right. Was there any other questions? I can't believe I'm early. I did it all.
Let's see. I had seen Marissa's hand up, but she might have put it down. Let's see.
Oh yes, Timothy. We're not all younger. That's important to understand. Summer. Yes. Thank you. Is Timothy still on the call? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that out. I did think about that too. And I think it's anytime we're starting kind of a new career or a new path, we still have that year window where we're trying to get our bearings and and all of those things. But also, like you said, Timothy, we develop over a lifetime habits for coping and understanding and unraveling what those are so that we can develop more constructive behaviors to deal with our stress is critical and for our health and our wellness. Okay, what else? Okay. All right. Thank you all. Physically fit. Oh, yep. And I will just get you that graphic. The hub. You got it. Did you just cut and paste? How did you do that? From my
I went to the intranet website.
Oh yeah, you just did that real quick.
Yeah.
I could have done that real quick too, except for I'm sort of in this internet void over here. And it's slower. Okay.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Becky.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will send it to you. Thank you, Christy. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.